When Playboi Carti announced I Am Music, it felt like more than just an album title. It was a statement to the entire industry. Carti wasn't just releasing new music, he was making a claim that he is the culture. He is the influence that every other rapper has to abide by. When one thinks about the music landscape right now, about who is the top dog, it's him, whether you agree with him or not. In fact, in 2022, in an interview with XXL, when he first teased the idea of music's album title, he discussed how every time he drops, he wants to change the sound of music. But hidden beneath the chaos of the rollout, the cryptic posts, and the 30-song track list, there's a deeper story. I Am Music is a project built on the roots of Atlanta trap and mixtape culture. It pulls from the pioneers of the genre, from Future's drugged-out anthems to Gucci Mane's unapologetically unpolished instrumentals, ad-libs, and lyrics, and finally to the golden era of mixtape culture itself. But at the core of it all stands Lil Wayne, the original Carter, the artist who once embodied everything Carti is now embracing, a legend whose blueprint Carti is honoring, reinterpreting, and maybe even trying to surpass. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on I Am Music, unveiling the depths of its inspirations, the moves that make this not just an album, but the defining moment in Playboi Carti's career. This is the untold story of I Am Music. When I Am Music finally arrived, it didn't sound like anything Carti had done before. Though this was typical for his album releases, given they were so spaced apart, this rollout in particular spanning almost 5 years. Gone were the synthy, rage-fueled beats of Whole Lotta Red and the vampire punk rock aesthetic that had defined his last era. The last album was seemingly evolutionary, ahead of its time. No one had ever really heard or seen this type of music or imagery in the existence of the rap genre. However, this project traveled back in time to the simpler days. On I Am Music, Carti leaned heavily into pitched down vocals, a sound that felt warped and drugged, pulling influence from Future's voice. The production was grimier too, built around menacing 808s, cold snares, and the kind of bare-bones trap beats that once dominated Atlanta's trap scene. It wasn't polished, it wasn't clean, it was raw, and intentionally so. It allowed the rappers in this era to keep their fans fed, and frankly, listeners appreciated the almost one-take punchy bars. Who needs the overproduced instrumentals and vocal engineering? It lacked personality, something hip-hop is always celebrated over even the music itself. But even the rollout promotion told a story. Carti abandoned the high-fashion runway looks of the Whole Lotta Red era. Instead, he showed up in baggy, vintage basketball jerseys of the 90s and 2000s legends, a visual return to the classic era of hip-hop, when rap superstars looked more from humble beginnings rather than high-fashion diva celebrities. Not to mention, a time that his new fans had never even experienced before, and thus, many had not even been able to appreciate. And Carti didn't just stop at the imagery. He revived a forgotten part of rap culture, the physical CD. Multiple versions of I Am Music were offered through merch bundles, a direct nod to the days when mixtapes lived in car radios and boom boxes, not Spotify playlists. This wasn't just a new album, it was Carti's attempt to reset the entire culture, to reconnect rap with its grungier roots. Before the streaming era, before the post-production technologies, before the record label giants gentrified the streets.
Y'all already know, man. President right here, CEO, smack DVD. I still smack in your motherfucking face. Get from behind my motherfucker.
At the heart of I Am Music is a sound and a feeling, deeply rooted in Atlanta's DNA. Carti didn't just borrow from trap music, he dug into its foundations, pulling from the textures, aesthetics, and energy that had been lost since the streaming era. After all, these were the elements that defined the genre originally and set it on the trajectory of its popularity today. As mentioned earlier, the fingerprints of Gucci Mane are all over the album. The beats are colder, emptier, heavier, built around simple, single instrumental melodies with dirty 808s layered on top. The kind that fueled Atlanta's rise in the beginnings of music sharing on the internet. Future's influence runs just as deep. For some even, Carti's pitched down, warped vocals are even indistinguishable from Future's, the subtle difference only noticeable after listening to their collaborations within the project. But it wasn't just the artists Carti was channeling, it was the style of the album itself too. I Am Music plays like a mixtape, not a traditional album. It lacks cohesion, some would say purposely. No commercially planned hit, just a compilation of 30 tracks with chaotic sequencing and effortlessly placed features. giving off the feeling of the mixtape era's off-the-cuff releases serving the priority of quantity over perfection. Because in a sense, mixtapes were supposed to feel incomplete. In fact, their sole purpose originally was to serve as promotion, handed out for free in the neighborhoods as demos to showcase the artist's music in hopes to one day strike a big record deal and record an official album, many times incorporating the fan favorite tracks from the mixtape. Carti even laced the album with classic mixtape sound effects. DJ tags, rewinds, distorted vocal drops, small details that instantly call back to the days of DJ-hosted music, whereby these tastemakers were still the gatekeepers of new music in their region. For I Am Music, Carti didn't choose just any voice to bring that era back. He chose DJ Swamp Izzo, a legendary Atlanta figure who helped break some of the most influential artists in hip-hop today, like Future, Young Thug, and countless others back when they were still fighting for recognition in the streets and clubs of Atlanta.
And there's a song on there called Real Diamonds.
First song.
And who's on that song?
Future.
Right. Wasn't he called The Future at that point?
The Kid the Future.
Aha.
Kid the Future.
Okay, so the meathead name is out the window.
I'm just working with Scooter. Like I said, these guys are just in the building. But I just get a bunch of songs and I was like, this song is so crazy. Got to start it off with this.
Hearing Swamp Izzo's voice on I Am Music doesn't just add energy, it adds credibility. It signals that Carti isn't just capitalizing off nostalgia, he's reviving it with the people who created it in the first place.
Three things that make you Atlanta.
Future, Playboi, Carti, Young Thug, Young Scooter, Rich Kids. Should I keep going?
Keep going, keep going.
Gucci.
And if that wasn't enough, Swamp Izzo was even officially inducted into Birdman and Lil Wayne's Rich Gang / YMCMB movement, a cosign that ties everything back to the mixtape dynasty Carti is now channeling.
Chill. You're not just gonna make it official. Calling out DJs, DJ Swamp Izzo. It's official Rich Gang YSF like so I'm just letting y'all know when y'all see this nigga fuck with YMCMB, Rich Gang.
But Carti didn't stop there. Just weeks after the album dropped, he was seen linking with Jim Jones, Harlem legend and core member of Dipset, one of the most iconic mixtape collectives of all time. Jim Jones helped shape the gritty, hustler-driven sound of the 2000s East Coast underground, and his presence alongside Carti wasn't random. It was symbolic, like everything else presented to the public during music's rollout. More recently, Carti even had a cameo in Jim Jones' latest music video, Civil Rights. And with Swamp Izzo, Jim Jones, and other pioneers of this mixtape era in his corner, Carti made it clear he was aligning himself with the same level of influence, just the modern day version. Which brings us to one of the most defining aspects of Carti's legacy in the streaming era, the leaks. Before I Am Music even had an official track list, its mythology had already begun to take shape through leaks. In many ways, Carti's relationship with leaked music mirrors the unofficial spirit of the mixtape era. Back then, artists like Lil Wayne flooded the internet with unofficial tapes, loosies, and remixes, tracks that weren't about first week sales or chart positions, but about feeding the culture. Carti plays a similar game. Every one of his album rollouts is flooded with leaked material, not necessarily released by him or his label, but in a way that almost feels intentional. Whether they surface through hackers, insiders, producers, or Dropbox breaches, these leaks fuel an anticipation and speculation machine that no other artist can replicate. And even though many of these tracks never see an official release, they still become more integral to the album's lore than the actual final track list itself, just like the mixtape cuts of the past. The most significant leak from the I Am Music era was Wicked / Killers, the first glimpse into the signature production of Carto Got Wangs, who would later produce a large portion of the album. Snippets of other tracks like All Red also surfaced, eventually becoming the album's lead single, even though it didn't make the final track list for whatever reason. The song stirred controversy though for Carti's use of pitched down vocals sounding nearly identical to Future, a vocal style that would go to define much of I Am Music, as we talked about earlier. Each leak, even when it was just a snippet, played a critical role in shaping the album's identity, offering raw, unfiltered previews of where Carti's mind was at. These weren't polished singles, they were moments, testing the sound before officially releasing it. And Carti didn't just stop at the leaks. In the early stages of the I Am Music rollout, he quietly released around 7 songs on an alternate Instagram account, a cryptic page separate from his main profile. Tracks like You're the Moon, Hood by Air, and Backrooms appeared without warning, out of nowhere and with no explanation. And only a couple of these unofficial drops ever made it to the final album. The rest remained scattered, fragmented, half-baked pieces of I Am Music's world that he created. And yet, they were just as essential and memorable to the rollout. In an industry obsessed with rollouts and streaming-friendly singles, Carti's approach was messy and unpredictable. But that's exactly why it left such an impact.
I've been saying I was the best when I was 14. Been saying I was the best. I probably wasn't at that time, but I knew nobody. You gotta do how they doing it now. They be trying to measure LeBron and Jordan. They be like, Jordan could never be measured as no LeBron. LeBron 22. Jordan wasn't doing this. I mean, I'm 24. What were you doing at 24? I mean, I'm 12 years in. 24. Be afraid. Be very afraid.
But beneath the chaos of I Am Music lies a clear, undeniable influence. Lil Wayne. Carti used Wayne as the blueprint, not just for this album, but seemingly for his entire career. In a 2021 interview with Inked, long before the album title had even been announced, Playboi Carti admitted, "At this point, to keep myself sane, I just go home and watch Lil Wayne documentaries and see how he went through all of this shit." With Wayne reaching superstardom in his early teens, Carti looked to him as a North Star, a guide for navigating this overwhelming pressure and choices of a rap career. And why not model your path after the self-proclaimed best rapper alive? The title I Am Music itself appears to pull directly from a phrase tattooed above Wayne's right eyebrow, which Wayne once explained in an interview. "That's all I am, is music. That's all I do and all I know. 366 days a year, this is all I do. 25 hours a day, 8 days a week, that's what I do." It wasn't just a statement about work ethic though. Wayne wasn't just part of the culture, he was the culture. I think I Am Music 2 was a great concept though, because this moment was the exact representation of what the title is. So it was inspired by Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne back in the day, by the way, he has an I Am Music jacket. I think he has an I Am Music tattoo on his face. But Lil Wayne, if you did not live through that era, was untouchable. So like y'all think Carti, like anything he does turns to gold. Lil Wayne, multiply that by 5. Any feature he touched, boom, boom. Any mixtape he dropped, boom. Any remix he did to your song, it's bigger than your song. Lil Wayne was the fucking GOAT. So his last 2 albums, the Carter 3 and 4, sold about 1 million copies each within their first week. Stats rarely seen in music any genre within the last decade. Moreover, the last rap album to hit this mark was Drake, one of Lil Wayne's early signees. So Carti adopting that phrase as his album title wasn't a coincidence. It was a statement, one that Wayne's own son even seems to agree with.
Who is the greatest rapper of all time, in your opinion?
I mean, obviously my dad, but like for me, I'll say because like Carti is like the Wayne now, so yeah, Carti.
But he think he the new Dwayne Carter?
I mean, if you really like think like he's there, like he's reached that level, like he's done crazy numbers.
And the tributes didn't stop there. Before I Am Music dropped, Carti posted a cover art paying homage to Wayne's legendary Dedication mixtape series, swapping out Wayne's photo for his own, like a visual insertion into the history books. And on the actual album itself, the connections even grow louder. One of the standout tracks is titled Like Wheezy, a direct nod to Wayne's nickname. And on the track Radar, Wayne himself appears, dropping the phrase Carti World in a torch-passing ad-lib. Even deeper, the track Backdoor on I Am Music samples Lil Wayne's song Red Rum, a hidden callback that solidifies Carti's clear intentions of pulling influence from the GOAT. But the similarities behind Carti's career and Wayne's run deeper than just guest appearances and sampling beats. Both artists underwent full rockstar transformations at pivotal points in their careers. In 2010, Lil Wayne released Rebirth, a genre-bending album where he traded trap beats for electric guitars, even learning to play guitar himself to push the image further.
when you say that, I don't want nobody to get confused. They didn't actually play on the song. They're just on the video.
Oh, is that right? Okay,
Yeah.
I was confused by that.
Yeah.
So they're just acting like they're...
They're just on the video. I'm actually playing the guitar on the song.
Have you played for... How long have you played the guitar?
I've been playing for 2 years now.
2 years?
Yes.
Wow. And you...
It wasn't about technical skill, it was about energy. The idea of doing whatever he wanted despite hip-hop's norms or the record label's profitability.
The Rebirth album is really just me expressing myself without any margins, without any guidelines. That's all it really is. I don't want people to really think it's me trying to do something different. It's just me putting the album together where I told my record company, don't tell me nothing about what I say.
Absolutely.
Don't tell me nothing about what you hear. Just get behind it. And that's what Rebirth is.
Years later, Carti would follow a similar path. During his Whole Lotta Red era, Carti fully embraced the punk rock aesthetic. Leather jackets, dyed hair, screaming into distorted microphones. His performance looked less like rap shows and more like underground rock concerts, with moshing fans and a wild, unpredictable energy that drew him the festival headlining performance time slots within a matter of years. Even their appearances were similar. Wayne was one of the first major rappers to proudly wear a lip piercing, blending rock star fashion with typical rapper swag at a time when it was almost unheard of. Carti later built on that legacy, covering his face with piercings, facial jewelry, and unconventional fashion choices that blurred the line between rapper, punk, and sexuality. He even tattooed "The World" on his hand, just like Wayne once did during his rock pivot. Through all of it, the message was clear. This isn't just rap anymore. This is something bigger, louder, and harder to define. And the parallels only deepen when you realize that just a year earlier, in 2023, Lil Wayne had released a greatest hits compilation titled I Am Music. It was a retrospective celebrating a career where Wayne moved through rap like a force of nature, unstoppable, unpredictable, and at his peak, untouchable. Although, based on the timing of Carti's rollout, the shared title likely wasn't intentional, but it just adds to the lore nonetheless, especially when framed as a follow-up to a greatest hits album from one of the most selling rappers of all time. Additionally, the album's deluxe edition title, Sorry for the Wait, pushed the connection even further, pulling directly from one of Wayne's most beloved mixtape series. And beneath it all, there's another hidden connection most fans overlooked. Both Playboi Carti and Lil Wayne share the same last name, Carter. Jordan Carter, Dwayne Carter. Separate by blood, but tied together by influence, and now, legacy. In many ways, it seems Carti sees himself as Wayne's natural successor, carrying forward the reckless creativity and invincible force that once made Wayne the center of the rap universe. I Am Music isn't just about Playboi Carti becoming a bigger artist, it was about him cementing his legacy as a legend. And now, standing atop that foundation, Carti has begun to build an empire of his own.
I'm Wayne, and I have nothing to do with Young Money, not a thing. And I'm just trying. Hold on, I'll let everybody introduce themselves because they got voices. Hold on.
What's up, everybody? This your boy T Streets. Holla at your boy, bang bang.
Bang bang.
Yeah.
It's your boy 2G Gutter. You already know what it is. Man, get at your boy.
What up? It's your boy Lil Twist.
What up? This Holly Grove's finest with my brother Weezy. Mac man, stupid Mac Noop, it all in one. Holla at me. Holla at me.
What's going on? Go by the name of
It's okay, it's okay, it's okay.
I go by the name of Drake, Jimmy Valentino, Drizzy Drake Rogers, Young Angel. You know what it is? Yeah. Yeah.
Hi, you guys. I'm Nicki Minaj. Hi, I am Nicki Minaj. Excuse me. What? Isn't this messed up? The president is this crazy? Like, who has a president like this? Making fun of his artists. Making fun of his artists. Okay. My name is Nicki Minaj, aka Nicki Lewinsky, is going down.
Following in Lil Wayne's footsteps isn't just about sound or aesthetic, it's about building something bigger than yourself. Wayne didn't just dominate the mid-2000s with his music, he expanded his legacy nearly infinitely by founding Young Money Entertainment, a label that would launch some of the biggest careers hip-hop had ever seen to this day. Through Young Money, Wayne introduced the world to artists like Drake, Nicki Minaj, Tyga, and many more. Not just rappers, but full-fledged superstars who would define the next decade of the genre. Today, Playboi Carti is quietly doing the same. His label, Opium, isn't just a roster of artists. It's a subculture, a full-fledged movement that bleeds from rap into fashion and social media overall. Within just a few years, Carti has built a world with a clearly defined sound, look, and energy that no other label has cohesively recreated. Opium is synonymous with blacked out outfits, grungy aesthetics, high energy mosh pit music, and a self-declared rock star lifestyle. It's dark, it's loud, it's cult-like, and it's completely intentional. The roster, including Ken Carson, Destroy Lonely, and Homicide Gang, is just the surface. Opium operates like an ecosystem. It includes producers like Filthy, creatives like Burberry Terry, stylists and designers like Joy Division, anything artistic, visual, or cultural you can imagine, the Opium umbrella has it. But what makes it work is that it's not just Carti's brand. Each member builds their own identity under the collective's roof. It's mutually profitable for Carti and his signees. They move as a unit, but thrive as individuals. And that's exactly why it works. The collective is greater than the sum of its parts. In fact, you could argue that Carti's rise to cultural dominance wouldn't be what it is today without the machine he built around himself. That's why he's been so selective. Every piece of Opium is chosen, not just for the music, but for what it adds to the world he's building.
What does it take to break hip-hop artists now?
You have to know the social media. You have to have a team that does. With that said, I think that the main thing today is what it's been yesterday and the day before yesterday. You just have to have real talent.
Okay.
Yeah, because there's so many people and so many people available to do this, and you have to have real, everlasting, undeniable talent.
So like Wayne with Young Money, Carti isn't just signing artists based on popularity. He's building a family around a shared aesthetic. And while I Am Music saw Carti shift back towards a more street-oriented sound, the point remains. Carti has taken the concept of a label and collective to a place that feels more ideologically advanced than even Young Money ever was, even if it hasn't reached the same level of mainstream commercial success. Because just like Young Money in its prime, Opium moves like a unit. From group tours to stylistic alignment, reshaping the underground in their own image for every other upcoming and even mainstream artist to follow in their path. And just like Wayne, Carti isn't micromanaging every verse, he's just simply shaping the world around his artists and collective members, providing the infrastructure, the cosign, and the blueprint, while giving them the freedom to evolve within it. Wayne turned Young Money into the dynasty that produced some of the biggest artists of their generation, and now Carti, in his own futuristic way, is already doing the same. So overall, I Am Music wasn't just an album. It was Carti's way of stitching together everything that shaped him. Atlanta Trap and the mixtape era, Lil Wayne's blueprint, and the empire he's now building with Opium that reigns over the underground. And yet again, he disrupted the rollout playbook and defined where rap will head to next. The only question now is, will he do it again with Baby Boy, or will he pass the torch to his artists to finally take over without his supervision? And with that being said, thank you for watching. If you're into deep dives in rap, there's another video on the screen right now that you won't want to miss. Peace.